I'm Jamie, this is Dan, and this is our fur baby Cashew. We're taking a road trip through central Washington in our DIY fire truck conversion, and we're taking you along for the ride. After extreme wildfires rolled in, our second vehicle also decided to give us some trouble.
Stress! So our tracker is not idling very nicely, or at all.
This week, Dan attempts to fix our tow behind on the road. Will we be able to get to the root cause and continue our road trip?
I don't know.
It looks like somebody's having a campfire directly behind us. Spoiler, it's actually just a wildfire. Yesterday we were off-roading and we got halfway down to the lake and all of a sudden the tracker started idling super weird. We barely made it home. I had to literally limp the tracker along, but we made it back barely.
We're rolling in. We're doing it. We're literally rolling in neutral. We are near the truck. That's the good thing.
Is that the tracker idling? That feels fucking good. I did a bunch of research and it sounds like there's two common problems that cause this. The PCV valve and the EGR. Well, I went ahead and cleaned our PCV valve and, as you guys saw, the tracker is running!
Unfortunately, that fix did not work on the tracker. It drove for about 10 minutes and then did the same exact thing where it would die at idle. So once again, we are back to the drawing board trying to fix it.
We've done a little bit of diagnostic work on the tracker so far. When I checked the code reader, there is a code for a throttle position sensor. It also has the IACV, which is the idle air intake control valve sensor code. We are going to test the throttle position sensor as well as the IACV to make sure that they're working correctly. And then we are going to calibrate our throttle position. Hopefully something fixes it. I am sick of not having a second vehicle. This guy is our IACV. It looks super clean. I mean, I think this is like, I thought I bought a new one of these, so I feel like this is an old code. This is our throttle position sensor right here. We're gonna go ahead and try the reset first. We are going to test the idle intake real quick. All right, that's perfect. Next up is the calibration. Let's go ahead and disconnect the battery. Feeling gauge in. All right, we're in ohms mode. Let's tilt it. The throttle position sensor back in. Everything's connected, hopefully calibrated. We're going to go ahead and throw the idle air intake control valve back in there, give it a wipe, and hopefully it works. Let's go ahead and give it a try. Let's give it some gas. Now it sounds even worse. Now it's ticking. Why is it ticking? No codes this time. None of the fixes are working. I think tomorrow I'm gonna play around to try and clean the EGR valve. Oh my gosh. It has been a little while since we've actually been able to see the sky. It's really nice and not smoky out here. These mountains have been here the whole time, and they've just been a weird, smoky silhouette. Gonna go ahead and try and start the tracker, see if that does anything. Probably won't, probably will do exactly what it did before, but you never know. All right, so the tracker sat overnight. I fired it up, and as you can hear, it is running again. It's ticking pretty loud, but it sort of does that until it warms up, the lifters. I don't know. I didn't change anything other than resetting the ECU. Oh, that ticking, man. So bad. I don't know. It still doesn't really sound 100%. I don't think it's fixed. But we're gonna drive it around. We're gonna see if the ticking stops. We'll see if it can idle.
All right, I think the ticking's quieted down a little bit. Let's throw in a drive and drive in circles, I guess. All right, so it's definitely still on the closed idle loop. So if it can continue to idle, all right, it's shifting. It does feel a little gutless, I will say that. But maybe it always just feels gutless, you know? Who can say? I mean, it's idling. So maybe I accidentally messed it up yesterday when I reconnected the battery with the IACV disconnected. I don't know. Seems to be running fine. Seems like it's idling at the right idle.
How's that working?
Sounds fine. I don't know. I don't hear a tick anymore. Do you hear a tick? It's the normal,
Same.
right?
That's
Yeah.
good.
Thing,
What do you
but-
think it is then?
I don't know. Tracker's working, and we're gonna move sites. So I went out there to start the tracker up, and it did exactly the same thing. So I limped it over to our awning, set up some shade, and I'm going to clean out the EGR. The reason I've avoided doing the EGR is because it's quite difficult to access. It's on the back of the engine. It's pretty difficult to get your hands back there and to actually reach any of the bolts. It's actually right down there. So I had to take off the wiring harness around it. And then we also have to remove this pipe. Here's the EGR. It's not supposed to be covered in a layer of soot, but it's still open. So there's a chance that this isn't the issue. We're gonna go ahead and get the EGR intake tube off. This is just the EGR tube. Go ahead and remove that super quick. All right, we got one washer. We got the EGR tube out. It looks like everything is still flowing. We're gonna go ahead and plug the battery back in, give it a little bit to reset, and then we're gonna try and fire it up. All right, let's see what happens when we start it. Nothing. Same old as it was before. Okay, so the EGR wasn't the issue. I had that feeling. It's getting pretty late, but we're not giving up. We're going to clean the throttle body next. I've cleaned out the mass airflow filter, I've cleaned out the throttle body, cleaned out the IACV, cleaned out the PCV valve, cleaned out the EGR. I don't know what else to do at this point. It is really, really late, so we're gonna try one last time and see what happens. Same exact thing. Well, I'm going to bed. Good night, y'all. New day and a new opportunity to fix the tracker. At the very beginning, when I did pull the initial codes, there was an IACV code. So I think that might be the culprit. Already pulled it out, and I've already tried to turn the tracker on and off, and the thing didn't move. It's supposed to move when you turn the tracker on. That's a good sign that it's not working right. I tested this plug. This is for the IACV, and it is getting proper 12 volts, exactly like it should. We can go ahead and test the IACV. Oh, it's running fast. I think that confirms it. We have a bad IACV. Probably should have diagnosed the IACV a little bit harder last time after I got the code. Didn't think it would be the issue, to be honest. It's a new part. I guess they can go bad too. We'll order a new part and we'll get that swapped out. And we will continue the show. Yeah,